Okay, so I have no clue what I'm doing when it comes to making videos, giving advice, and things like this. This is a learning journey for me. I have been on this journey to healing my body, both like physically, mentally, spiritually for the past few years. And I feel like I've had a lot of trial and error. I've had a lot of like testing done whenever it comes to like my physical body. I've seen a lot of doctors. I've spent a shit ton of money, and I still just feel like I'm stuck. So let me back it up. I've been struggling with IBS since 2019. It doesn't make me feel that special or that different or anything like that, because I feel like, maybe the algorithm is just really good, but my social media is just great at generating content catered towards like IBS, gut issues, how that affects your hormone health, how that affects your mental health, and everything in between. I feel like at times I am so well informed, but I'm also just extremely overwhelmed at what's happening in the space of gut health. And I really think that it impacts a huge part of our lives. Physically, just wake up feeling sick every day. Mentally, my brain just feels fuzzy. I feel irritated, unmotivated, and then just spiritually, it's so draining because I've lost faith in myself and in this whole healing process. I just go back and forth like, will I ever feel normal again? I've had something within me to be like, a lot of people probably feel this way. I think it's so easy to turn on your phone, to go on your computer and search for your symptoms. Find so much overwhelming and confusing information out there that a lot of it is conflicting too, where it's like, what do I do? What's the right answer? I think for me, I just want to go on a journey of deciding between all these little health hacks and health myths and this whole world of confusion. I just want to go on a journey to kind of like debunk a lot of this stuff, try some new things, and then also go through my experience of trying what didn't work and what probably won't work for most people. I want to start my journey anew again. And I want to do that with kind of the world right now. I don't know who's gonna watch and listen or who's gonna be there for questions and viewership. I really hope that it becomes helpful for people, because it is just so crazy overwhelming, everything that we're going through and everything that we're learning. If you are just as confused as me about gut health and your gut journey and what the right steps are to take to heal yourself from the inside out, you are definitely not alone. I'm here to go on this journey for us so I can share my testimony, share what worked and what hasn't worked, and really give you a step-by-step plan of how to heal yourself from within. A little backstory: I came back from a study abroad program. I had the beautiful chance to go to Italy and drink and eat whatever it was that I wanted. And the semester that I came back, I was a junior in college. I just remember not feeling super awesome upon returning. I was just really nauseous after everything I ate. My bowels weren't like super frequent. And then mentally, it was a really hard semester too, not only adjusting back to life on campus, but I was going through a lot with internships, schoolwork, and I was in a sorority at the time and had a leadership position. So it was just really hard balancing all that. So I think I was really stressed at that point too. Also, COVID hit during that time. So we all know what happened. COVID hit, got sent home, and I just think my gut health took a turn for the worse. I would like to consider myself a healthy person. I love to cook. I cook most of my meals. I don't really eat out. I have a huge sweet tooth though. I love baking. I will need to eat sweets after every meal. I just feel that urge. Relatively, I eat healthy, let's say about 80% of the time. But I would keep these food logs, of stuff I ate, whether it was oatmeal in the morning or salad during lunch or like some type of chicken dish at night. I was just feeling sick. I could not stop just feeling nauseous, feeling like I was gonna throw up after every meal, feeling like I couldn't use the bathroom in the morning. I started getting super constipated. My head was spinning, like, what did I do wrong? What is going on with my body? I've never felt this way before. And so when I got back to campus, I ended up graduating December 2020. I just finished out the semester. I was a broke college student. I was like, I don't have the time, money, or energy to look into this now, but it just kept getting worse and worse. I'll describe my symptoms a little bit more. Nausea was a big part of it, just feeling sick, super bloated, like distended belly. I wasn't going to the bathroom frequently. I was also just really stressed. I think school got to me, but I wasn't sleeping right either. My brain was kind of all over the place. The anxiety was heightened. I was also on hormonal birth control at the time. I've been on it since I was about 17. I was 22 or 23 at this stage, 6 years at that point. And then I remember having to switch birth control whenever I was like 18, 19 years old, because I was also bloating a lot and my periods weren't consistent. That seemed like a red flag for my doctor at the time, but she was also like, oh, let's just put you on this different form of birth control. So I was on a low estrogen one. I was taking the pill. I remember I brought up my gut issues with my physician at the time back home, and she seemed concerned. I remember taking a few blood work tests and a SIBO test. I didn't have anything, like nothing was showing up on tests. Just I knew that I wasn't feeling my best self. And so now we're in spring of 2021. I already graduated. I was looking for a job. That beautiful time during COVID. I'm at this stage where I need a new doctor. I need some tests done, but I don't know who to go to. And so I remember, like, let me start with the gastrologist, right? Traditional Western medicine, let me go that way. Found a gastrologist through my insurance. I remember kind of explaining to her my symptoms, and she was like, yep, all right, we'll order all these tests. You know, I took a whole variety of stool tests, and she was like, we'll see how they come back and then we'll do next steps. She also prescribed me Metamucil, which is like a fiber supplement, and charcoal capsules for all the gas-ishness. I took all the tests, spent a hell of a lot of money that I'm still paying for. I love that. But it came back inconclusive, and my symptoms were just getting worse at this point. Like, I really wasn't going to the bathroom regularly. I had the one where it's like, you're constipated and then you have diarrhea, but then you're back to being constipated, and nothing in my life just felt consistent and felt normal. This whole time I'm also trying to job search through COVID, so just think of that added stress and anxiety. So nothing came back. She was like, we'll go ahead and order you an MRI then to see if we can see anything in your abdomen. Again, a lot of money later, got this MRI done, nothing, inconclusive. She just diagnosed me with IBS. She was like, we can take this pill that's usually prescribed for traveler's diarrhea, and you can take it, see how you feel in a few months. It may go away, but it also has the chance of coming back, and also it's thousands of dollars. I'm like, there has to be a better solution than just being like, oh, you got IBS and take this super expensive pill that may or may not work. So I was like, I've done the traditional route of seeing a gastrologist. They told me nothing. I spent all of this money to basically have results, not tell me anything. I was looking for a doctor at the time, found a few in the area, and one of them had incredible credentials, was a little bit more non-traditional, which I was like, I don't want to go the conventional way. Maybe this could work. I could see myself going that route if that's what I needed. I remember seeing him. My first appointment was good. He was like, you know, we see your whole body's connected. It's one system, and once we correct one system in it, it'll be like a domino effect helping the rest. The way he described it made sense. I believe that, yes, everything in our body is connected. You know, if one system is off, probably another system is off. He was like, okay, I want you to come in. We'll give you like another free consultation and we'll review everything. Literally, it was a group session, and they had people come up and give their testimonies, and they were pretty much like, I have the power of God in my hands, and I'm gonna use that to align your spine. It was like a holy chiropractic care. And I was just like, this is not what I signed up for. Like, I grew up Catholic. I am like religious. And I was just like, this is too much. It was so heartbreaking to me in that moment, because I thought that I found a solution to actually help me. And it was just like complete bullshit. And so I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what am I supposed to look for? Like, how do I find a doctor? That was the biggest thing, was like, how do I find someone that's gonna advocate for me the way that I see me, take my problems seriously, and help me get through it. But yeah, I moved and I started my job and I continued on it with these symptoms. I put myself on the back burner. I was like, I have a new job, let me focus on that. I'm in a new city, let me focus on that and have a lot of fun. And my health took a back seat. But then I think it all caught up to me, because by the summer I started getting migraines, which I've experienced before when I was a teenager, probably around 16, 17, and migraines run in my family. They literally knock me out. I can't see. I feel like I'm spinning. I'm extremely nauseous. Whenever I got migraines in high school, seeing a chiropractor helped me. I would get an adjustment done. I don't need people coming at me like, oh, chiropractors work, chiropractors don't. This is just something that has helped me in my life with my migraines, doing chiropractic care and getting acupuncture. So there was one day where I had a migraine so bad I couldn't even move from bed or open my eyes. Searched for a chiropractor that could take me that day in the city. I Ubered on over and she was a holistic chiropractor. When she saw me, she made me fill out this form with my past medical history. And so I put on it, migraines, any broken bones I previously had. And then I also put IBS, and she was like, oh, I work with a lot of people who have IBS, do testings and supplements. And at this point, not that I wrote off naturopathic or functional medicine doctors, but I just wanted answers. I wanted someone who would listen to me and be like, this is exactly what we need to do for you next. I didn't want to go through, I'm gonna heal you by the power of God through my hands type of shit again. But she was like, we need this test done, I'm gonna do this supplement, and we may do this diet and you'll feel this. I had put my health on the back burner, but I think with this migraine, and I was continuing to experience symptoms every day. So the fact that someone was listening to me and actually respected what I was going through and how I was feeling and was wanting me to come out on the other side. If you say you can help me with my IBS and have me heal it, sure, let's go for it. You may be a chiropractor, but let's do it. But now I'm still wondering, Jess, cool, you found the solution. You did your healing journey. You're healed. What's good? Not exactly. So I started with this holistic chiropractor July of 2021, and we'll start you from there. In July, I started to take some supplements for this. I started taking some supplements. I think at the time I was just on a couple different probiotics and digestive enzymes. Again, it was kind of skeptical, do these really work? I don't know, but I'm just gonna take them anyways. Just do what I was told. May I remind you that this wasn't a cheap process, but I was at the point where one, I had my first big girl job, so I was like, you know what? I can afford this. I actually had health insurance through them. And so I just felt like I was in a place where I could financially afford it. And I wanted to bring my health back to the forefront, because I realized that if I don't heal myself and my gut, one, the rest of my life isn't gonna look the way that I wanted to live, but also I don't want issues down the road. I don't want 5-10 years from now to be like, oh, now you got, this disease and this autoimmune issue, or even cancer or something like that. It's dramatic, but I think if you don't take time to heal yourself and the little symptoms that, I want to call them little, but you know what I mean, the symptoms you have and that you're going through now, it's only going to snowball into something way worse down the line. By that fall, I had done a stool test, and this test came back said that I had candida overgrowth. If you don't know what candida overgrowth is, essentially it is a yeast overgrowth in your gut. Sometimes it's also characterized by having oral thrust in your mouth. So if you open up your tongue, you can kind of see some white stuff on the tongue or down the throat. It can affect your gut. If you have a very high sugar diet, consume a lot of alcohol, non-alcoholic by the way, or you are also stressed, and it's just basically a gut imbalance. So, and you can also have fungus on your fingernails and toe. It's a fungus, right? Yeast. The protocol with that is to starve off the yeast in your gut. So that way they just starve off and die and it goes away. I remember whenever I found out I had candida, I was like, yes, not yes that I had it, but finally, someone diagnosed me with something that isn't just generalized IBS. I was waiting for the day where I found out I could have candida or SIBO or leaky gut or things like that. but I just like didn't know if I had those things. It was all very hypothetical. The fact that we took this test and it was like, yes, you have candida overgrowth, I was like, finally, there's something. And then there could be like next steps for us to take. Now, at the same time, my parents were like, I have to say I have really supportive parents, and I'm super grateful for that because I know not everybody has that in their lives. They just couldn't really help me financially at the time, but they were really supportive, and they would find articles and different podcasts and different tests you could take and send it to me and be like, we think like this may help. And so one of them, I listened to them and I took a parasite test because they were like, this could be your issue. And I'm like, maybe. The one stool test I took with my holistic chiropractor didn't show I had parasites. But I remember taking another stool test with this outside company that did. It did show up that I had a couple like minor parasites. I remember just like not really doing anything with them. I'm like, you know what? At this point, I can only fight one battle at a time. Let me trust my holistic chiropractor and do this stuff for candida. So the protocol, we started it after the new year because it was going to be a highly restrictive diet that I need to do for at least 1 month, and how to do it after all of the holidays and the sweets and the treats and the travel. So starting January, I was on this candida diet, and essentially what it is no sugar, no gluten, no alcohol. Am I missing one? Sugar, gluten, dairy, alcohol. I did take out some fruits and vegetables that were really high in sugar. We had to give up was caffeine. It was a coffee. I remember before, I do not want to change my diet. I love food too much. I love eating out. I love cooking. I am not doing it. But a year into this journey, I began to realize in order for my body to heal from the inside out, I am going to have to change my lifestyle in some way. It's not going to be permanent, and that's why I have to keep reminding myself, like, this isn't permanent, that I have to eat like this. But in order for my body to heal, I am going to have to remove certain food groups for a period of time and then begin to reintroduce those back so my body can heal. I had this timeline in my mind. I had the 1 month timeline. I was like, I can do this for 1 month. I can do it for myself because I love myself and I want myself to heal. And if that's what it takes, I'm gonna do it. So for 1 month, I was on this diet, and I was also on a bunch of different supplements at the time. I also took this time mentally for myself. You know, I rested a lot more. I have to say, this was not a fun time for me socially. It was also January in New York City, which is just like cold and bitter, and like the city can be lonely too. So it wasn't fun for me to go out in social settings anyways, because if I went out, I knew I wanted to eat or drink with friends. And because this diet was so restrictive, it just felt impossible to eat out. I remember I tried eating out one time and I asked just a plain salad and olive oil because I couldn't eat dressings because you didn't know if they contained sugars. And they were so confused. They were like, olive oil? Like, they cook with? And I was like, yeah. And then that was like, okay, I'm not eating out again like this. So I did this diet for a month, and I remember the first week, I'm going strong. I have like my little meal plan. I'm making a lot of snacks in between or whatever, and I'm feeling so good. I was like, this is healing my body. And then like, I think it was like the 6th or 7th day rolled around, and I felt like absolute dog shit. I was irritable. I was so tired, so hungry. I like couldn't stop craving sugar. I just wanted bread. I wanted popcorn. It was horrible. And I realized that what I was experiencing was like candida die-off. Because you go from 0 to 100 so quick, your body doesn't know how to react, because think of it as like you're killing off a whole organism. And so I would definitely not recommend what I did. It was just like cut it all off, because it felt horrible for days and I wanted to give up so bad. And I think at this point I was shoveling cauliflower rice down my throat, like just give me some carb-like substance. It was just rough. But then I started to feel a little bit better. It was like almost the end of the month, and my holistic chiropractor was like, we need to do more, your body's not through it yet. And I was like, how much more? Okay. And I ended up doing 3 months of that diet. I have to say, I did have a couple like cheat days. It was like Valentine's Day one day. I remember I had like a glass of red wine. I remember, I think I had like a gluten-free something, or like potatoes or rice that you weren't supposed to eat, just because once your body broke down those carbs, it was like a high sugar level. I broke it a couple times and just feeling mentally guilty, but when your mind was set for the 1 month and then it was extended, it just felt impossible. And during this 3 month period, again, I continued taking time for myself. I just saw friends whenever it was actually fulfilling for my soul, whether that was more like one-on-one catch-ups or, taking a walk together, or just having friends come over and sit and chat, just doing things that were a little bit more wholesome for me. I also really, really prioritized my sleep and stress management. I thrive off of a good 9 hours of sleep a night. I'm unashamed of going to bed at 10 p.m., maybe 9:30 some nights, and waking up like 7 the next day. Really prioritized myself during this time, and also getting movement in every day, incorporating more yoga, just trying to focus on myself. And legitimately, after the 3 months, I have to say I was feeling really good. I remember waking up in the mornings and not feeling bloated and inflamed. I don't know how to describe this, but if you've been through this feeling where just day after day after day, you wake up, you continuously feel bloated, you continuously feel inflamed. You don't feel like you're in your body anymore because your body is just taken over by something else, some other like microorganisms. And so I remember kind of by the end of these 3 months, I would wake up just with like, not that morning skinny, but kind of. And then it would continue throughout the day. Like I would eat and I would not bloat up. I wouldn't be nauseous anymore. I was actually going to the bathroom regularly. I was healing. My body was healing, which is something I didn't think I could do. My body began feeling good. My gut began readjusting. I was kind of cleaning out some of that yeast overgrowth, some of that candida. Mentally, it was so much better for me, but I felt like there was still just something missing. And what was missing was just like living my life to the potential that it could be. I knew I couldn't go my whole life living without sugar, without dairy, without gluten, coffee, all of that. And so mentally, I was like, wow, I should be doing so good. Physically, I'm amazing. And like, I feel really good, but something is missing. And am I gonna go back to feeling that same way whenever I was eating all of those foods? The short answer is yes. I did go back to feeling like shit. I think I also fucked up a bit because during the time I stopped my candida diet, I also took a trip to Miami to see my boyfriend's family for Easter. When you're with family, you can't be like, oh, I can't eat this, like have like a laundry list of dietary restrictions. They're also Brazilian, so they're gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, why can't you eat the food we have? It feels a little disrespectful too. I remember just like going all in. That first day, I felt great. Didn't poop the whole trip. I think I was there for like 5 days. Couldn't get a single one out. And I went too hard, too fast. That is on me. It felt like shit. Whenever I came back, I was like, okay, let me slow things down a little bit. But still, whenever I began incorporating more rice, more potatoes, oatmeal, I would eat yogurts. I started having my protein powder again. I would incorporate foods like that, and I still felt like I needed to be fully on candida or not, because the back and forth of, oh, some days I'm gluten-free, oh, some days I'm not. I'm not gonna eat dairy today, but this weekend I will. Now I'm gonna go back to drinking like how I used to. I would feel good for like the week, but then the weekend would come and I would feel like shit again. And then the cycle would continue. Some weekends I try to be like, no, like I can't do it. I'm completely gluten-free. But I'm also in a relationship where we love to go out and eat, and New York City has the best food scene. So it would feel wrong being gluten-free out in restaurants or having to choose restaurants based off of like what dietary restrictions they can provide, whenever I know that's not my issue. I don't have an allergy to gluten, to dairy, to sugar, all of these things. I'm not physically allergic to them. I'm not celiac, which can be a real issue for some people, but I would act like I was, and that just wasn't good for me. I feel like I was losing my identity throughout all of this because I didn't even know the values I stood on. I didn't even know what I could or couldn't eat. And I was so fearful of having to be put back onto the candida diet. So continuing on summer through the fall of last year, I continued my supplements, probiotics. I was taking Spanish black radish. I was taking this turmeric supplement, digestive enzymes with every meal. I shit you not, I would carry around like a huge pack of supplements everywhere I went, and it would be like a handful with every meal. It was so embarrassing. For the past 6 months, I've been more consistently gluten-free, also not eating dairy unless it was yogurt, just limiting sugar as much as I can, just eating more whole foods. By the end of the day, it was like, if I eat more whole foods and less processed foods, that will help. That will get me regular. Make sure I have a ton of fiber in my meals. Make sure I'm eating more at consistent times throughout the day. I think the biggest impact is that deep down, I just know I'm not allergic to these foods. And yes, it can be the food that's hurting my stomach, but I also think it's a deeper issue at hand. Going back, I've been reading a lot more into the mind-gut connection. And sometimes, I don't know if it's like the chicken or the egg. Is it your mental health affects your gut health? Does your gut health affect your mental health? I think it's a little bit of both. I mostly think it is the gut that sends all of those neurons up to the brain that then affect your mind. But by the end of the day, I was also just trying to focus on my mental well-being. I got a new job during this time, switched over career paths. I've moved in with my boyfriend, changed up my sleep schedule, when I would eat, started changing up who I was hanging around with and how those people began to influence my life. And I really started to focus on myself, because if there's one thing I can control, it's my mental well-being, how I am just around myself when I'm alone. And so I started going to therapy, journaling, reading more, less screen time, less time on social media. And I have to say, mentally, I'm in such a better place than where I was starting this journey, but also like 6 months ago. I'm feeling a lot more confident about my headspace and also about my identity, just who I am in this world. I think that's a topic for another time, just being like a young 20-something in a city and post-grad. I know where I'm at mentally, but I continue to feel sick, and that is what will affect me mentally by the end of the day. Today's a perfect example. I'm here, I'm present, and I just feel not myself. I feel foggy, I'm tired, I feel puffy, and I feel inflamed, and I feel bloated, and I feel like I was hungry this morning, but then I haven't been hungry. And that's another thing that kind of fucks me up, is my hunger cues are all over the place. I just feel off. I don't feel like my best self. And so that's why I think I need to turn back the focus to rehabilitating my gut. It's been 3 years since going on this journey. I'm continuing as of this moment to see my holistic chiropractor. I have been asking since probably January, can we run more tests? Can we look at something else? Because my symptoms seem to be getting worse than where they were, just like slowly been on the decline. And she was like, yeah, we'll do it. And I'm like, okay, can we also look at how many supplements I'm taking? Like, maybe we can reduce them. She's like, yeah, we'll do it. I feel like I've been having to advocate for myself so much. At first, I was being heard, I was being listened to, but I just don't feel that way anymore. And I feel like what I've done with this current practitioner has run its course. I think I'm ready for someone with a new mind, a new background, and a different perspective too, to help me with where I want to go next. I've been putting a lot of pressure on myself to try all of these gut health hacks, to listen to more podcasts about it, to read more books. Maybe I gotta do it myself. If nobody else will do it, let me do it myself. But I don't think that's the answer either. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a background in medicine or nutrition. It's just something that I am very interested in, and I've gotten to know a lot more about. I'm still learning about it, but I'm at a point where I don't even know what diet I should be in. I try to talk to her about it, and she's like, oh, just eat fibrous foods and foods with prebiotics in them. And I'm like, that just doesn't help me. Like, I do that already. I eat those foods already. I don't know these things, and I don't have someone in my corner who's helping me with these things, and all I have is stuff that I'm teaching myself. And I'm frustrated, and I'm tired, and this is definitely a ranting video, and I'm complaining a lot, but the point is I have been on this journey. I have been on this path towards healing, and there's some days I feel so close, and then other days just hit me like a truck, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm so just overwhelmed with everything that I could possibly be doing. I want to go through and talk about stuff I tried, if it's actually helped, and then I kind of want to walk through step by step of my current journey finding a new doctor, because I know not a lot of people have the ability to or have the money to. Again, luckily I feel like I'm in a really comfortable spot. Financially, I did just move, which is kind of scary, but I have a great job. I'm gonna do what it takes. Even though I feel like I've done what it takes the past 3 years and I've been doing this time and time again, different doctors, I'm gonna start over. And I wanna do this journey for us. I wanna go through all of this for us. And I wanna talk about it. And I wanna share it. And start a little community, because I know there's, women and men out there that just are as lost as I am and are as confused as I am. So here I am. I'm here to share my journey. Come with me.